Alrighty then, it's time for a Pantheon game, and by the title of this name, you know it's going to be a doozy. And I'm going to just spoil this for you right now. It's going to suck really bad. And I don't mean that the game just completely stomps her one way or we lose just completely. You can tell by the title what's going to happen. Now, straight out the bat, you know what Mantheon is. He's a ganking jungler that's just nothing but killing people. You don't farm, you don't do anything but murder people. And what I can figure from the very beginning of this game is that we're going to have to be very aggro. We're going to have to maintain momentum, capture it by its balls early, and just ride with it. So I'm not going to smite the Gromp. I'm going to kill it without smite so I can use my smite and regain some mana from the blue. And immediately go off to kill somebody, either Annie with Yasuo or bottom lane with Alistar. Mid lane is pushed to the brim, so I can't go gank for Yasuo, and I just have to go down bottom. Alistar sees this, so he immediately just walks up to the Jinx, but she gets a shield by Morgana. Fortunately, Morgana's so out of place that she just becomes an easy kill. Unfortunately, I do have to burn my flash for it, and Alistar gets the first blood, but still, we get the first kill. It's important, especially for me as a Pantheon, since I took a big risk. Now, watch this whole little thing. It's really stupid. I go up to the Annie because she's very aggro against the Yasuo, and I immediately just use my stun on her just so we can do damage. Because I know she's going to flash right off the bat, and I don't think it was going to go for a kill. For whatever reason, Annie turns around alongside the Shyvana and kind of tunnel in on us. My E tears them to shreds, and then Yasuo goes in with a spin, knocks them up. I CC Shyvana, and she dies too. Now, this gank wasn't intended to be a kill at all. It was intended to be a damage gank against the Annie, force her to burn her flash just after me stunning her and stabbing her a bit. The Shyvana, for whatever reason, thought she would win a 2v2 when her Annie was already fucked up. So that's a really bad sign for them. I'll explain in a second. I go up to gank Wukong. Echo is really fucked up, so I should be able to handle this myself. I force his flash out, I chase him a little bit, and he'll obviously be able to escape. Now, Yasuo pings us a lot. Mid lane is missing, and I think they're coming top to snipe the Echo because he's really easy to kill. So I stay behind the rock here, away from line of sight, just to catch anybody or deter them. As soon as Annie comes in, she sees me, and she's like, fuck this, and goes away. So both Shyvana and Annie wasted their damn time. Now, the Shyvana being super aggro in a really stupid way is important because I know she's gonna go for really silly maneuvers. I'll be able to catch her, or I'll be able to bait her into really inefficient fights. That means if I continue making a lot of aggro plays early, it's going to lure her out and slow her state to devour. So that, like you can see here, she goes down bottom lane instead of farming. It's kind of a waste for her. She's slowing down too much for no reason. Of course, she is getting lane farm, which is pretty useful, but you get what I mean. If I apply enough ganks or pressure elsewhere, it'll force her out. You'll see her pop out every time I come gank somewhere, or she'll show her face. Back then, when the triad of junglers was very important, gankers beat farmers because gankers would apply a lot of pressure in the lanes or whatever and force the farmers to come and help deal with it. Because otherwise, you lose, even if you get farmed up, your laners lose. There's no coming back from that. Alistar gets killed alongside with Graves, and I was just getting blue as quick as I could so I can get my ultimate. And I immediately use my ultimate, or at least position myself to be able to land close to them. But not on top of them. I probably should have tried landing on top of them. I get CC down and almost killed, flash over, kill the Jinx, and then the Morgana finishes me off. That's not exactly a worthwhile trade. The enemy team gets a 3-kill swing, at least only on bottom lane, which I can at least assassinate with my teammates. Here I go. Here's what I mean by Shyvana. This is not even a gank she should have been trying. It was a really forced gank. I show up right in time, destroy the hell out of the Annie. She survives just with a little bit of health, and then Shyvana dies again. The Annie goes top to actually kill Echo because it's a really brutal fight, and she figures she could just snipe him, and she does. Kills him easy peasy. But I predicted she'd be coming top, so I snipe her too, and I kill Wukong as well. So I get 2 kills for basically a little effort here. The only one to sacrifice was Echo. So keep this in mind. The enemy Shyvana is slowing herself down considerably. She didn't even have to be doing this. That gank she tried pulling off on the Yasuo was very forced and very, very desperate. So right now I'm not worried about her at all. And in fact, it's really helping me out because, again, I'm a killing jungler. I'm all about the momentum. Fun fact, there's a huge paradox with Pantheon. He is all about maintaining momentum as a jungler, but he's one of the junglers with the worst momentum in the game. I'll explain that in a second because we're getting in a fight with Wukong. Here's where I learned that I could kill Wukong one by one. He ends up having to flash and just run away from his own engage. And then, you know, sadly I get sniped by a rocket. Boom. Okay, that sucked for me. I saw Annie, I was going to back up immediately, but the only way to go was directly where the rocket would hit me regardless. Now, momentum for a jungler is basically how quickly you can move from one action to another action to another action. Momentum is important because if you have good momentum, that means you can continuously apply pressure anywhere on the map. And for ganking junglers or control junglers, that's important. A good example of a champion with a lot of momentum is Jarvan, since, you know, his EQ is just constantly a really strong ganking initiator. Champions with bad momentum are junglers that rely on ultimates to gank, something like Malphite, whose ganking is pretty bad without his ultimate, but really strong with it. So you're just kind of on this timer, right? Pantheon has bad momentum, not in that he can't keep ganking, but that his resources just aren't there to allow him to do this. This is why I took the Trailblazer, and this is why I started off with. This is why I also bought a potion, and this is why I also started off with Gromp without a smite, and then taking blue, so I can maintain my mana and continuously pull off these silly little ganks. Like, you saw me in the beginning, I pulled off a gank down bottom lane, then pulled off a gank down on mid lane, and then pulled off a gank down top lane. That wouldn't have been possible if I wasn't able to maintain a blue buff for all that entire time, or at least maintain my mana from having to use smite on the blue. Like, that's Pantheon's biggest weakness. His resources just aren't there to allow him to do a lot of things. It keeps him in check, at least, to be fair, because if he had enough mana just to spam his Q and become really fast or whatever, in lane he would be a much bigger cancer. Now, you can see this game we're kind of systematically destroying them, but we're not really pushing too many objectives. We lost Dragon, we lost whatever, but we can just tear them to shreds whenever we can force a fight. Here we just go in on the Morgana, a flash killer. Yasuo also flashed, and we know we can tower dive them. We wait for Alistar to be able to get somebody in there, so he goes in, Yasuo follows through, and Jinx is annihilated. I jump on her, I throw a spear on her, and then I just use my E just to annihilate Wukong and Shyvana's health. Of course then I have to stab Wukong in the ass to kill him, but you can see what I mean. We're just so much freaking damage. Of course, Annie comes here and kills 2 people, but then she ends up getting killed herself. So either way, we have 2 times more kills than they do. We have such a huge momentous lead right now that it would only take really, really greedy, really, really angry people to, you know, fuck it up somehow. Hint, hint. Hint, hint, hint. Anyways, old top lane, because Echo's fighting the Wukong. I arrived just in time where Echo killed the Wukong, so kind of a wasted ultimate. So not to make my ultimate wasted, I just decided to tank the tower, trying to make sure my passive is up as much as possible to soak a lot of the damage. My mid lane is tearing up the tower. My bottom lane, I don't know, by the way, I don't even know why Shyvana ran at us 2v1. She just pretty much died for free. My bottom lane also is going to get 2 kills right now. 2 kills right now. I don't think I actually captured that on camera. And I believe they do manage to get the tower before they're forced away. No, I think they just somebody comes and scares them away. Either way, you can see we're almost at 3 times as many kills as the enemy team. And now we're actually gaining a lot of objective control. But still, you can see that the length of this game is, or at least video, is 20 damn minutes. You know something's going to happen. There's a reason I titled it the way I did. Now, we know one thing for sure with Pantheon. His late game is a little shitty. So, seeing as I'm starting to die in a lot of fights if I don't get a good initiation in, or I don't get to, you know, murder somebody before I get dropped, I'm going to go a little bit tanky, because we still need at least some half-ass tank somewhere. So I'm going to start building myself with tanky items. Banshee's Veil mostly just to avoid being CC'd or having my assassination ignored. That Annie, I didn't even think she had a hourglass. I should have checked. That was very stupid of me. Otherwise I would have been so aggro. And because of that, we get punished. Here I almost killed Wukong, but he managed to kill me after flashing. And we lose pretty much everybody here. Well, almost everybody. Graves manages to survive, and this Alistair is pretty fucking badass, managing to protect him and everybody else, and setting up a lot of plays. Shyvana comes in, Alistair knocks her up, she, for whatever reason, he punts her close to Graves, and for whatever reason, she ignores the Graves entirely, and then ends up getting killed because she didn't bother to do anything properly. So, yeah, this Shyvana's not that great. Holy shit. Right now she's 0-8-2, and I gotta say she is kind of a big reason. So my team has this much momentum. Nonetheless, the enemy team needs to kill the Yasuo first before any fight, because he's the only one that has any way to continue a lockdown before when we initiate a fight. Alistair can start the fight. Yasuo can sort of extend that crowd control duration, and the rest of us can pile in and melt them. We have the damage to destroy them. Now watch this, I love this. Morgana's the only one straggling behind, so I decide to flash, get over my stun, and we just destroy her. And knowing that my enemy team cannot fight back or escape, I decide to use my ultimate to catch them even further. So immediately catch Jinx. She pretty much implodes, or well, almost. She gets stabbed right now in her skinny ass. She dies. My teammates are still lusting for children's blood, so they decide to tower dive the hell out of Annie. I was thinking, oh, this is stupid, but damn, like the Alistair and hell, the Graves are just really hard to kill at this point. My teammates go gung-ho for the tower, but unfortunately are forced away. They're just made to run away. Again, there's 8 minutes left. This game ain't over yet. You know what happens to a Yasuo or a few carries who get a few too many kills. You get what I mean, right? Well, get ready for this. I go home. I buy myself Giant's Belt to buy myself a Randuin's Omen, as I figure I won't have to try to kill the Jinx or something. The Yasuo at this point is actually telling us that, you know, we should split push or something. He's kind of getting mad. So he goes straight for Wukong, and he ends up coming against a child that torches his face completely off. He implodes, and I have to say he's one of our most important members because he sets us all up after Alistair. I tried fighting the Annie, but again, the Hourglass kind of destroyed me. I died. And then the rest of my team is slow to follow here. Echo gets killed because he couldn't use his ultimate. Alistair gets picked off. Graves tries very hard to pick off somebody from the group of 40 low health people, but he doesn't manage to kill anybody except, well, I think Annie. And then he gets aced. Then we get aced. And then the bad thing about this is right now the Yasuo is mad. He actually asked us to surrender this fucking game. And then the Echo as well, even though we still have twice as many kills as them, and we're insanely powerful. For whatever reason, the Jinx allowed herself to die for free. Either way, the team morale has gone to hell. For whatever reason, we're still super strong. But you can tell what's wrong with this team and why some people might lose morale. The Graves goes super aggro against a Morgana who's just a support, and it gets him killed. He does kill the Morgana, but his life is not worth it. Yasuo comes in by himself, and I try to do something, or at least try to get close to be able to do something, and he pretty much kicks the bucket as well. So we lost 2 important members for pretty much nothing. We go against the Shyvana, we kill her, we bring her down, but she's pretty much worth nothing at this point. We're gonna get sandwiched in by Annie, and Alistair uses his flash Q too early. And the Annie gets to stun us and burn us alive, so we get wiped out again. This is a really bad situation for the team, especially considering how easily we could lose if we get stunned. For whatever reason, Graves ran into both of them and just flat out died. And that watching Graves die means Yasuo wants to copy that. He runs in there and dies as well. So right now, my team is throwing insanely hard. I go right after the Wukong because I want to try to get at least some advantage. I thankfully have the red trinket, so it allows us to know if he's going to try to, cloak away or something. So we bring him down. Hopefully we can carry this momentum forward and control the map a little bit. Right now the Yasuo is actually saying, fuck all of you guys, I'm just going to split push. He cursed us, told us we're shit or whatever. Either way, here the enemy team, for whatever reason, decide to engage on the Alistair, and that's stupid because I'm able to sneak from behind. I go straight on the Jinx because I think she's the MVP, and we almost kill her, but she manages to escape. Still, though, that leaves Shyvana and the Morgana basically to die. So 2 for nothing right there. 2 kills. Watch this. This is undeniably stupid. We ping a lot that Annie is in this bush. Echo knows she's in this bush. He still walks up to her and dies. He saw that coming a mile away. She was just sitting there, not even approaching him. And he walks up to her and dies. That was so fucking dumb. No matter if you guys feel sensitive about a YouTuber insulting teammates or whatever, and you cannot defend that. That was dumb. Hilariously dumb, to be fair, at least. I was laughing my ass off as much as I was kind of, pained by watching it. So Echo, of course, also pissed off, decides to split push the entirely different lane and gets himself caught. And because we can't really let him lose, especially because Yasuo's doing his own thing, we have to go help him. I fight the Wukong to try to distract him from killing the Graves, but it's not enough effort. I mean, I can't do enough. He goes straight for Graves, kills him, and he flashes over, destroys the shit out of me. I have no way of surviving this, and I die as well. So 4 of us die for basically nothing. I mean, Yasuo gets a tower and he gets an inhibitor, but the enemy team gets a Baron out of this. Again, the Yasuo is just really angry, and the Echo is just as angry. But we had a massive lead, we had momentum, but the greed got the best of these players. Right now, the best thing I can hope for is we managed to pick off one of them for free. Shyvana, even Shyvana, a 110 and 10 Shyvana is still kind of a worthwhile pickup because at least we don't have to waste any abilities on her if she were to die prior to a fight. Fortunately for us, we are controlling dragons somewhat, and we have 2 dragons. Dragon's about to pop up very soon, so we're just kind of hovering around the area. We're pretty afraid of them at this point. And for whatever reason, again, because of split pushing, my teammates get caught. I go in, I try to control Wukong, watch this. I use my E, but as soon as Wukong gets close, I go up to him to use my Randuin's Omen. I stun him, or at least try to stun him, to try to preserve Graves' life, because he could do more AoE damage than I can. Unfortunately, again, it's not enough, and we get absolutely destroyed. Fortunately, though, Echo managed to get a really good ultimate in and kill 2 people who were very unwary about it, and then kill the Wukong to finish it off. This is a fight that shouldn't have been won. We should have lost this, but the enemy team got fucked up in the positioning at the very end, and Echo was able to annihilate them. So that little accidental fuck up by them just gave us the game back into our, rolled the game back into our favor. So, as you can see now, I'm building the Last Whisper because at this point, any more survivability is pointless because our fights are ending before I manage to do something, and I need at least a little bit more damage. So Last Whisper is probably one of the best items to buy on Pantheon, especially this late. We're waiting around for Dragon, and for whatever reason, the Shyvana is going to get super aggro and super stupid. So just watch this. As soon as the Dragon pops up, we go straight at it, and we kill it quickly. Shyvana, for whatever reason, by herself, decides to walk into an area where she knows we're all at, and she just gets knocked about and absolutely bitch slapped. So, yeah, we spanked a second Dragon right there. That allows us, at the very least, to not worry about it, or at least feel like we're going to fight a 4v4 with Yasuo dicking around top lane. That's not the only catastrophic mistake that's going to happen. Watch this. Echo goes straight for the Annie, but the Annie just misses her ultimate by like a mile. Echo goes in and almost gets killed, so uses the ultimate to back off, and I go in by myself to at least absorb a bunch of their hits. I feel I'm tanky enough to at least, take this damage. I do get killed, but my teammates are able to follow through and obliterate them. So 4 of them are dead. Jinx is the only one alive, and it allows us to get all the inhibitors, push for the Nexus towers, and pretty much secure the win. Once again, Shyvana goes in and she gets her pussy slapped, so she is absolutely destroyed. For whatever reason, Echo thinks he can kill the Jinx and gets pretty much slapped as well. He died like a bitch right there. Fortunately and thankfully, the game is finally over. It was an insanely frustrating game for obvious reasons that you already saw. But at least, thankfully it showed how Pantheon is strong in the early game.